This is WSMV4 News at 10.
Welcome to WSMV4 News at 10. I'm Marius Payton.
And I am Tracy Cornett. Coming up, controversy at Vanderbilt tonight over the medical school's decision to perform gender-affirming care.
Plus, buying a home in Nashville was already expensive. Now, after the Fed raises interest rates again, it's getting unbearable for some. But first, a woman is in critical but stable condition tonight after being hit by a train. It happened near downtown. She was struck by the WeGo Star train and taken to Vanderbilt. The passengers on the train had to be evacuated. They were bused to other local stations so they could continue their trips.
New tonight, 2 people are dead after a murder-suicide. It happened close to Belmont University on 20th Avenue. Police say a 68-year-old man shot and killed a 73-year-old woman before turning the gun on himself. Right now, their identities and motives are not known, but we'll update you as we learn more.
An inmate at Riverbend has been charged with murder, accused of stabbing another inmate to death. Robert Bryan is accused of stabbing Bradley Johnson in February. He was indicted last month and booked today at the Davidson County Jail. Now, in DeKalb County, a Smithfield man has been charged with killing his girlfriend. Simon Rodriguez was arrested and charged with murder today, accused of killing Yuri Guerrera during a domestic violence incident. He's being held without bond.
Big news tonight if you are looking to buy a home. For the 5th time this year, the Fed is hiking interest rates. And with the cost of buying a home getting more and more expensive here in Nashville, we're looking into how this could affect you. WSMV's Danielle Jackson talked with a realtor and community members tonight. So Danielle, how are they dealing with these changing and challenging times?
Tracy, they're just dealing with it when it comes to car financing, mortgages, and credit cards. They're all getting pricier as the Federal Reserve hikes interest rates yet again. Now, the goal is to tame inflation, but it's also hitting consumers' pockets.
Buying a house is one of the most sought after purchases that anyone will make in their lifetime. But the Federal Reserve hiking interest rates 0.75% once again is throwing an expensive curveball at most buyers.
The tough part now is buyers are going to be paying more for their homes. But I don't think that we're going to see the bidding wars like we've been seeing, the multiple offers. Homes are staying on the market longer. They're not being seen or shown as quickly as they were in the past.
Debbie Hosapian is a realtor with Parks Brentwood. She shared with us a recent example of how interest rates impacted a client looking to purchase a home.
The rates were lower when we made the offer, and the seller did not respond in time, and we had to rewrite the offer. This time we wrote the offer for considerably less than what we came in at in the first place. And that's to fill in the gap. Over the life of the loan with the interest rate hikes, I think it was going to be about $75,000 over the life of the loan. So for an average family, that's a lot of money.
Some people like John Schaefer have skidded by the high rates.
Well, we've been pretty lucky because we already had a mortgage and a car loan before that happened, so we got good rates. But yeah, I mean, it certainly would have if we hadn't been in that situation, I guess.
Others say they're more cautious with their money, especially after the pandemic.
Personally, my husband and I have, looked at options of refinancing our home, looking at home equity loans, and have had to make some decisions maybe sooner than we wanted to try and get ahead of the interest rate hike.
Fixed mortgages aren't impacted by the rising interest rates.
The desire to buy a home is always there for people if they've got money in the bank to go ahead and proceed. They're just not going to have the great rates that we've been so used to for quite some time.
If you're in the market to buy a home, there is a sliver of good news. You don't have to be locked into those rates. You can always refinance over the life of the loan. Tracy, Marius.
Boy, that's really sobering, though, just to see the difference in those mortgage rates. All right, well, thank you so very much. It's not just home buyers feeling today's decision. Some local restaurants say they are worried increasing interest rates might make their situation worse. At Voodoo Gumbo in Bellevue, owners say basically every ingredient for every dish on the menu costs much more than it has in the past. The interest rate hike is designed to try and tackle inflation, but it also makes it more expensive to take out loans, giving them fewer options to stay afloat.
Prices in food, it's really been something to see. Things as simple as butter, chicken, have almost doubled in price. You don't have the buying power to leverage lower prices like larger businesses do. And so we are much more susceptible to fluctuations and changes from month to month in the cost of goods.
Lawmakers are divided on today's decision to hike interest rates. Some are optimistic that it will finally curb inflation. Others say when interest rates go up, business activity slows, and that leads to less hiring and more layoffs. The Fed now expects unemployment to reach 4.4% next year. That would amount to more than 1 million Americans losing their jobs.
Tonight, controversy at VUMC. Governor Bill Lee wants the hospital investigated for its care of transgender people. It all started with video shared by a conservative blog showing a VUMC doctor discussing gender-affirming surgery, saying they can mean big bucks for the hospitals. They were recorded at a lecture shortly after Vanderbilt began their transgender clinic.
This is only including top surgery. This isn't including any bottom surgery. And it's a lot of money. These surgeries make a lot of money.
After the videos were posted to the blog, they caught the attention of Governor Bill Lee, who took issue with the hospital offering gender-affirming care to adolescents. His office released a statement to WSMV. It reads, quote, "The pediatric transgender clinic at Vanderbilt University Medical Center raises serious moral, ethical, and legal concerns. We should not allow permanent life-altering decisions that hurt children or policies that suppress religious liberties, all for the purpose of financial gain. We have to protect Tennessee children, and this warrants a thorough investigation," end of quote.
Meanwhile, we're also hearing from Vanderbilt tonight in other ways. They say the facts of the situation are being misrepresented here. CDC research shows transgender youth are much more likely to have health problems than the rest of the population, with higher risks of everything from chronic diseases and STDs to deadly violence and suicide. Vanderbilt says they're trying to help close that gap. Their statement reads, VUMC began its transgender health clinic because transgender individuals are a high-risk population for mental and physical health issues and have been consistently underserved by the U.S. health system. The UMC requires parental consent to treat a minor patient who is to be seen for issues related to transgender care and never refuses parental involvement in the care of transgender youth who are under age 18, end quote.
VUMC is not the first hospital to face scrutiny for their policies regarding transgender youths. This month, Boston's Children's Hospital received bomb threats in response to very similar policies. One of those threats led to the entire hospital being evacuated. A woman was arrested for that threat and now faces federal charges.
Tonight, after blasting through the Caribbean, Hurricane Fiona is headed toward Canada now as a Category 4 storm. It has left a trail of destruction, including in Puerto Rico, where some areas got more than 30 inches of rain. Now, some Middle Tennesseans are answering the call to help the people across the island. Hundreds of thousands of Americans still without power there. 4 people from Tennessee are part of the Red Cross team now on the island, helping them build back after the unimaginable damage.
It's not going to be easy. So it is going to take a lot of time for the people of Puerto Rico to overcome, as well as our volunteers to serve.
And more Tennessee volunteers are expected to head to Puerto Rico tomorrow.
So Fiona is now headed north as a major Category 4 storm, but what areas are now in its path?
Yeah, we've been kind of like saying some of these terms and these places that folks are really familiar with vacation-wise, but Lisa Spencer, you're here now to break it down. What are we looking at here as far as its target?
It is a very powerful storm for sure. I mean, just looking at the satellite image, look at it, it's huge. And you can imagine if you put that over the state of Florida, it would even cover Florida and Georgia, just to give you an idea of how large this storm is. But it is continuing to have those powerful 130-mile-per-hour winds on that north track at 10 miles per hour. So that's going to keep it away from the U.S. It is not expected to curve inland, so very good news there. Here is the latest path. And we'll find Bermuda right here, which is definitely a very popular vacation spot. It should stay west of Bermuda, but the closer it gets, the more impact it will have on that island country. So we'll definitely be watching that closely. But then it is expected to make its way up into Newfoundland after that. But in the meantime, right here at home, we are expecting to see some very warm temperatures. It's even 83 degrees right now, 79 degrees in Lebanon and 77 degrees in Dixon. Have you heard we hit 100 degrees this afternoon? Well, I have such good news for you. There is a big change on the way. After that 100, we are going to see our temperatures in the 70s for a couple of days. They will pop back up to normal, but we're not quite done with our taste of fall. And coming up, I'll show you when we'll see even more cooler air in this forecast and also touch on when we could get some rain. I know we need it about now. That's all just ahead.
Indeed, we do need that rain. Lisa Spencer, thank you. Well, tonight we're learning more about a Murfreesboro rescue after a construction worker fell down a 10-foot deep trench. Witnesses say he was walking backwards while guiding a dump truck when he fell into that trench. Firefighters went down after him with a ladder, then loaded him into a stretcher and carried him out. Tonight he's back home after a stay at the hospital.
In the past week, 6 students at Metro schools have been arrested for threatening to shoot up their schools. One brought a loaded gun to campus, and now police are speaking out over the violent threats. They believe students are mainly hoping to get out of school with those violent threats. In some cases, even copying threats made by other students on social media, then changing the school name and just reposting it. But police say even in hoax cases, charges are coming for whomever makes violent threats toward schools.
It's just some things we can't joke about, and mass violence in a school is one we can't joke about, but two, will never be tolerated here in Nashville.
It's just terrifying for so many people. You know, police say, parents, you've got to talk with our kids about why making threats like this is never okay. Schools are also planning to add more officers who will focus on checking for open doors and windows to make sure that the threats can never escalate to violence.
Nashville city leaders are looking to tackle homelessness using $50 million from the American Rescue Plan. Now we're hearing from Mayor John Cooper on his plans for the money. Cooper says it's all going towards a 4-part plan. The first priority is to build affordable housing. About half of the money will go towards that, which includes using low-cost loans to build hundreds of cheap units.
In the meantime, we will create units from construction projects happening right now. We will subsidize units in development slated to go online in as little as 3 months.
The second step in the plan is to partner with landlords and developers, giving them incentives to lower housing costs. Third, working to help provide temporary housing for those who need it. And finally, investing in services like mental health and addiction. Next month, the City Council will vote on the mayor's 4-pronged plan.
This is always such a great concert. Tonight at the Ryman, folks came out for some awesome music and all to support a great cause. It is the Concert for Cumberland Heights, an annual fundraiser. It helps the Cumberland Heights Alcohol and Drug Rehab Center. Tonight's headliners were a pair of Grammy-winning artists, singer Steve Earle and rock band the Kentucky Headhunters.
It looks like a lot of fun out there.
Jamming out.
Hey, coming up, the city of Memphis facing a new lawsuit saying Eliza Fletcher's murder never should have happened if police did their due diligence. We'll explain.
Plus, we'll break down the explosive new lawsuit aimed at former President Donald Trump, accusing him and his family of a massive fraud operation.